Hello my friends. So today I wanted to share with you a method that I really came to like. It's the Hawaiian healing method, or you can say forgiveness prayer, called Ho'oponopono. And I came to like it when I was on my second journey in Hawaii. And I read a book about it, and then I tried it, and I could see the effects of it. And then later I took a course. No, later I was looking for something that I could apply in my daily life that would help me to heal more and to just remember more of who I am. And then I kind of asked the universe just to give me just something, because I've had so many different teachers constantly listening to spiritual teachers and methods, and trying to find ways to heal and become more peaceful and more happy. And I was so, by then I was so, there were just too many ways, and I felt like, just give me one that I can really go through with. And then it was like very clearly Ho'oponopono came back to me, and then I took a course, and I just applied it more intensely than before. And so I just want to share that with you. Basically, just the main method how I learned it, and then just later my way of applying it now, and which is a bit a shortcut. I like it simple. So Ho'oponopono is an old traditional practice, and it just contains 4 sentences. But what I always find interesting is the intention behind it. And the intention behind Ho'oponopono is really to forgive yourself, to forgive the world, and remember who you are. And to kind of, with every time you speak the sentence, to erase your memory of the past. And so it's really to kind of erase the egoic tendencies of clinging and holding on to past pains, and to the illusion of life, and our view of ourselves as a separate person, and becoming whole and coming home. So that's the clear intention behind it. So every time you say the sentence, it's erasing another layer of the clouds or the protection that we are holding. So the sentences are, it's very simple. I'm sorry. The second one is, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And we are addressing our higher consciousness. We are addressing God. So we are saying, I'm sorry that I forgot who I truly am, and I'm seeing this as my truth. So sort of any thought, any painful thought, or anything that comes up in our outer life as a reflection of our separate way of seeing us, that we kind of address, and we say, I'm sorry that I see it that way. And please forgive me, I thank you, and I love you. And then I love you is the restoration back to the wholeness. And this is like just very simple. It's like and you have it constantly with you. You don't need to wait for the next session with your therapist. You don't need to wait for anything. You don't need any tools. It's just constantly there, and you can apply it. And it's highly effective when you constantly apply it. Just try out one day to constantly remind you of that, and you will see it's like really something can shift. I had that once when I did this course, and I had to go on a journey to Penang to do my visa. And I like traveling because there's not much you can do. So I can really have this one clear, focused mind and practice. So I was doing that, and I was alone at that time, so I was traveling alone. And I did that, and then I arrived in Penang, and I was walking through Little Italy, and not Little Italy, Little India. Little Italy is a restaurant here on the island. So I was walking through Little India, and yeah, and then it was just this snap, and all of a sudden everything was empty. Everything was empty, and at the same time so beautiful. And then I had this sentence coming up, and nobody wants this. And I loved that sentence, nobody wants this, because the ego doesn't want it. The personal identified self doesn't want it, because it means it's death. And so there's that part of us that is always trying to keep our minds busy in order not to go into this total empty, still, but very beautiful place. And then it depends on how you read this. No? Nobody wants it. It's the person doesn't want it, but nobody, the nobodiness, the nothingness wants this, because it is it. So yeah, it was just nice to see, and then it kind of snapped back, and I was back into my normal state of consciousness. But I kept on practicing, and it was kind of like something that I always had in my pocket when I really felt I'm going through challenging times, and I'm not really seeing this, because whenever you have this first experience of yourself, you just want it. Like, there's just this drive to go there, and I think when this desire is really fired up, there is no other way that you find yourself your way home. And so this is the Ho'oponopono practice, and there is so just these 4 sentences. I'll write them into the video also. So it's very simple, and just remember the intention is to erase the memory. Like, whatever comes up, if a thought comes up, or I shouldn't have said that, you know, and then the guilt feeling around it arises, and then you just like repeat, no, and you address yourself to your higher consciousness or to God, and you say, I'm sorry, I thank you, no, please forgive me, I thank you, I love you. And the guy I learned with, he said, in the end, you just need 2 sentences. You just need to say, I thank you, I love you, because the forgiveness is already done. Whenever you are, it's just this moment of remembering that, oh, this is past memory, and then forgiveness is done by itself. There is no need to forgive. It's when we come into our pure state, there is no forgiveness needed. So it's just this, I thank you, I love you, and then we are back to gratitude and to love, and this is what we, yeah, the themes of of week 4 and week 5. So yeah, that's very simple, and my personal way of saying it is I thank you, God, I love you. And this God is already like, I always feel like just my heart opening when I say God. So I thank you, God, I love you, and that's the remembering. Yeah, and I really invite you to play with it. Just try one day to be like so fully focused on that. And whenever you're with a person and you feel, okay, there is this sense of separation, and this sense of separation is there's always suffering behind it, whether we like the word or not. But when we don't see our wholeness, there is suffering there, and it might only be mildly felt, but there is this yearning of our soul to be whole, and that's always in the background as long as we are not it yet. So yeah, I think that's more or less it. So just really play with it. I like these. I like to see these really as games, and you can see, like, when you are in a situation with any person, and you get into, you feel this energy inside. Okay, I'm having having an inner argument. You know, I really want to be right here. I want to bring my message over here. And you feel this hardness coming up, and then just it's kind of like it's relaxing back, and just, okay, I thank you, I love you, and then everything softens already, and usually then things change, and it's I always like to see how things so quickly change in the outer world when we just shift our perspective. Yeah, there's this it's a quite famous story of this Hawaiian guy who's giving also those lectures about Ho'oponopono. So he's a healer, and he was invited into this state prison hospital where people were like mentally and physically sick, and they didn't know anymore what to deal with them because they were very violent, and nobody wanted to see those people anymore. And so they invited him in, and he would just look at the files of those people. He didn't even go to see the people. He was just looking at the files of the people and repeating those sentences. And through that, the people got healed. And I find it so amazing, and I've seen this so much in my own life. When we shift the whole world. It's like when you enlighten, you see the whole world is already enlightened, and you free everyone of your bondage. And so, yeah, I think it's like so important that we really wake up to the truth, especially when we look outside and look at the messiness of the world, and really come back to ourselves and do the shift and do the work. And it's work. It's not just, usually it doesn't happen like overnight, but it can. Yeah, just to see the power that we all hold inside when we come back to our true nature, and where healing has already happened, and there is no process needed. And I've seen this. I've seen this when my mother was sick, and I've seen this when other people were sick. And you just decide to hold them to see them as whole already, and you free them of your past thoughts. So whenever we hear or somebody is sick, we can just open our hearts and come back and see them already as healed and whole, because that's what they are. They are already healed and whole. The body might have a dysfunction at the moment, but it's really for the moment, and we carry it. We see, okay, there's always a story around the sickness, and we say, okay, well, that needs time, and we always stay in processes in time, and healing happens in time, but healing can happen in an instant. And if we have the power to just the inner strength kind of to hold them in that vision, then we have we just take huge part in that, because that is more true than any belief or thought that we are holding about them. All right, so I just play with it and just be open to see the effects. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.